You know, in all of motorsport, there's really only one name that hits you with this incredible sense of passion, speed, and just history. And that name, of course, is Ferrari. So today, we're going to get into the origin story of the prancing horse in Formula One. It's an amazing saga, really, full of singular vision, brutal competition, and the kinds of triumphs and tragedies that forged a true global icon. And look, to really get Ferrari, you have to start with the man himself, Enzo Ferrari. This quote, this wasn't just some catchy line he threw around. This was his entire philosophy. It's this absolutely uncompromising, relentless drive to win that defined the team from day one. It set the stakes incredibly high for everything that came after. So, let's start right there with that vision. I mean, long before you could buy one of those iconic red road cars, there was just Enzo Ferrari and this burning passion he had to create the absolute pinnacle of Italian racing. That was it. That was the goal. What's really interesting is that Ferrari didn't actually start out making its own cars. Nope. It began as Scuderia Ferrari, which literally means the Ferrari stable. He founded it way back in 1929, and his job was to prepare and race cars for another manufacturer, Alfa Romeo. It was basically a home, a stable, for the best cars and the very best drivers he could possibly find.
Okay, so this move from just a race team to a full-on car maker, it was a real journey. The Scuderia starts racing for Alfa in 29. Then, in 32, that famous prancing horse logo shows up for the first time. But the huge moment, the real turning point, is 1939. That's when Enzo decides to leave Alfa to go build his own machines. And by 1947, the very first car with the Ferrari name on it, the 125S, is born. And you gotta remember, it wasn't built for the road. It was built for one thing and one thing only, the racetrack. The legend had officially begun. So this obsession with independence, it led Ferrari straight into the brand new Formula One World Championship, which kicked off in 1950. They jumped in at the second ever race, and their ambition was, well, characteristically Enzo. They were there to win.
And pretty soon, the stage was set for this classic David versus Goliath showdown. On one side, you've got Alfa Romeo. They were the dominant force, the invincibles of the sport at the time. And on the other side, you've got these upstarts from Ferrari, led by the very same guy who used to run Alfa's whole racing program. You can just imagine the tension.
And then it happened. The pivotal moment. On July 14, 1951, at Silverstone, an Argentine driver named José Froilán González did what everyone thought was impossible. He drove his Ferrari to the team's first ever Formula One victory, beating the supposedly unbeatable Alfa Romeo.
Enzo Ferrari's reaction to this win is one of the most famous things ever said in motorsport. He apparently wept and said, "I have killed my mother." Now think about that. This wasn't just about winning a race for him. It was deeply, deeply personal. His own creation, the team he built from scratch, had just surpassed its own origins at Alfa Romeo. The student had well and truly become the master. That first win, man, it just opened the floodgates. And that brings us to the next big chapter of dominance for Ferrari, a period that was totally defined by the team's first real superstar driver, the legendary Alberto Ascari. And when I say dominance, I mean absolute dominance. With their masterpiece of a car, the 500 F2, Alberto Ascari won an incredible 9 consecutive championship races. 9. Just let that sink in. That record was so massive, it stood for decades. It just perfectly shows the sheer, unprecedented level of performance Ferrari had hit. Ascari's incredible run delivered Ferrari its first 2 World Drivers' Championships, back-to-back in 52 and 53. This is what cemented their place at the very top of the sport. But, and this is a recurring theme with Ferrari, this era of incredible triumph was also touched by tragedy. In 1955, Ascari was killed in a testing accident. A really brutal reminder of just how dangerous this sport was. And that theme, that mix of triumph and tragedy, would really come to define the entire next decade for Ferrari. It was this period of unbelievable glory in other kinds of racing, but also a time of immense grief in Formula One. So while they were fighting it out in Grand Prix racing, Ferrari was just untouchable somewhere else. In endurance racing, they won the grueling 24 Hours of Le Mans an unbelievable 6 times in a row. This was a true golden age for their sports cars. Back in Formula One, though, the 60s were a story of the highest highs and the most devastating lows.
In 1961, Phil Hill became the first American F1 champion driving for Ferrari. But that very same season was horribly marred by the death of his teammate, Wolfgang von Trips, in a crash that also killed 15 spectators. Then, in '64, John Surtees did something incredible. He won the F1 title, making him the only person in history to be a world champion on both motorcycles and in a car. What a decade.
After a bit of a dry spell in Formula One, the mid-1970s saw Ferrari roar back to the top. It was like a phoenix rising from the flames, really, led by a new era of technical innovation and this cool analytical Austrian driver you might have heard of named Niki Lauda. By 1975, that combination was just unstoppable. They had this revolutionary car, the 312T, with an advanced transverse gearbox that gave them a huge technical advantage. And Lauda's super precise, data-driven style, which was a huge contrast to the old-school daredevil drivers, was the perfect match for it. Together, they ended a decade-long championship drought and brought the title back home to Maranello. But it's really the 1976 season that has gone down in legend. Lauda was just dominating the championship, and then he suffers this horrific, fiery crash that nearly killed him. But in an act of just unbelievable courage, he was back in the car just 6 weeks later, badly scarred but totally determined to fight. He ended up losing that title by just one single point, but he absolutely won the admiration of the entire world. And his story of resilience didn't stop there. He fought back to win a second world championship for Ferrari in 1977, cementing his incredible comeback and re-establishing Ferrari as the dominant force in Formula One before he eventually left the team. I mean, the Lauda era, it was just a defining chapter of revival and pure, unadulterated spirit.
So, as we look back at these foundational years, from Enzo's ruthless ambition to Ascari's total dominance and Lauda's incredible courage, it kind of leaves us with a question, doesn't it? What was the more powerful force in forging the Ferrari legend we all know today? Was it the team's unrivaled speed on the track, or was it the unbreakable spirit they showed in the face of both incredible triumph and devastating tragedy?